Hi and welcome to Terry Travels and welcome to Rippleside Park on a cloudy and slightly rainy Sunday morning. Rippleside Park's north of Geelong and Rippleside Park isn't where we're going. Rippleside Park's just the start of this shambolic journey, and somebody said that my travel videos are shambolic. And I think I'm going to embrace that aesthetic. I'm just going to run with it. So what we're going to do is going to drive down along the waterfront at Geelong. We're going to go to Belmont Market, and then we're going to go down to Portarlington. There's a little bayside walk that's pretty cool there. And if the weather holds up and it doesn't start pissing down, that's what we're going to do. So let's get on with the show. Going to chuck a Yui and go back up onto the main road. Lovely trees here. I like the trees here. Yeah, it's been a week or so since I've done the last video, but I'm back on the road. Haven't had breakfast yet, by the way. I'm not hangry. I'm just a little bit peckish. And I don't know where I'm going to have breakfast because the future is a mystery. It's unknown to all of us. And so I'm just going to see what happens. Maybe down at Belmont Market I might get a sausage and egg sandwich or something like that, or a bacon and egg sandwich. Something groovy like that. Is this thing stable? Let's see. Yeah, it should be fine. But yeah, ahead you got Geelong, which is the second largest city in Victoria, on Corio Bay. When I first moved to Melbourne back in the 1990s, you remember the 1990s, it was in all the newspapers. Geelong was looked down on by people in Melbourne. Maybe it was just the people I was hanging around with. But it was very much looked down on as a kind of not very nice place. It had the Ford Motor Factory where they had cars, it had oil refineries, all the stuff you need for a civilization. But people didn't like it, and people who lived in Geelong were looked down on. There was a lot of that kind of snobbery around Melbourne at the time. There was the Melbourne-Sydney rivalry, which Melbourne really hang on to. Still do in a certain extent, but at the time they really hung on to the Melbourne-Sydney rivalry and talked Sydney down at every opportunity. Now, I'm from Sydney. I was born in Sydney, spent the first half of my life there. I like Sydney, except for what real estate agents have done to it. But there was this big Melbourne-Sydney rivalry. And the funny thing is, the people in Melbourne really lent into that enmity. But people in Sydney just went, oh yeah, okay. They really didn't think about Melbourne very much. They were thinking about the Gold Coast and Queensland and up the north coast of New South Wales. They weren't thinking about down here. And it was very hard, when I moved to Melbourne, it was very hard to communicate with Melburnians that is just what it was. I'm going to turn the camera, if I can, a little bit that way. And I went the wrong way, of course, because I always do. Okay, see, this is what happens. This is why my videos are shambolic. The coast road's closed. It's a detour. So we're going to have a look at Geelong from the detour. I'm not happy with that. I wonder if I can get back onto it further down. Anyway, we're going to take a tour of Geelong. Shambolic, as I said, but that is the aesthetic of the channel, so we'll go through it. Lots of old buildings here and lots of kind of classic old houses as well. It's one of those colonial cities that got very rich in the 1880s, 1890s. And so there's a lot of 19th century infrastructure around Geelong. And a whole bunch of brutalist architecture from the 1980s, but that's how things go. Let's see where the detour takes us, because we're just going to run with this. I haven't got any time schedule. I don't have to be anywhere at any particular time, which is one of the great luxuries of doing these kinds of videos. Hey, it says end of detour. I can pop back. So maybe all is not lost. That'd be nice. Yeah, Sunday mornings, not a lot of people awake. Everybody stayed up late Saturday nights drinking Red Bulls and trying to pull. But I didn't. I was very good. I went to bed at a decent time. Happily married. Sally and I have been together 25 years in March. So there is that. Quarter of a century. So we're going to see. She says it won't last, because then she said it won't last for the last 25 years. But that's how it is. So yeah, there's lots of kind of gastropub kind of places in Geelong, and Deakin University is on our right as we head towards the waterfront. In weekdays, it's very busy. I wonder why they got a red light here when you can't actually go anywhere but to the right. I'm going to crack the window because I want some air. As I said, the weather's really weird at the moment. It's 22 degrees, but it looks like it should be like 5 degrees. But it's 22 degrees, and it's quite humid, and we've had a little bit of sprinkly rain over the last few hours. Here we are, we're back on the waterfront now. Let me just move that camera as I said I would. Wrong way again, because my sense of direction is great except when it comes to technology. There's a really good place that I'm not going to show you over on the right, where I've moved the camera from, of course, where you can have a terrific breakfast. And every now and then our friends Craig and Julia and Sal and I go for breakfast there. But yeah, I'm not stopping for breakfast there because it is a little expensive. It's a special breakfast place. But you can see along the waterfront there. I've done a walk along here on the channel, but I just thought I'd cruise it in the car today and head over to Belmont Market, which I really like. Been to Belmont Market on the channel once before, but we're going there again, and then we're going to go down to Portarlington. And this place I've wanted to show people on the channel for a fair while. And yeah, it's sprinkly rain getting on the car. Sorry about the windshield wipers, but it is what it is. Here's some of the bollard art. And there is a Ferris wheel here, which is running at the moment because it is still summertime. And the living is easy. See, there's some of the bollard art there. The little guy with the handlebar mustache. Wintertime, this is kind of an interesting place too. And I've gone into a car park. How about that? So I'm going to have to circle around the car park now and go past the Ferris wheel, circle around the car park and dig my way out of this, whatever this is. Looks like there's a whole bunch of people setting up for something, and I don't know what. There's a whole bunch of mammals, middle-aged men in lycra, as we cruise along here. I can get back this way, so I will do that and swing. Oh, can I go straight ahead? Car park closed, it says, during the early hours, for the simple reason they don't want people overnight parking. They don't like campers for some reason. I wonder if I can get out at the other end, because it'd be nice if I could. And Spike G should get his ass into gear and get out of my way. Up on the hill above us is a whole bunch of old houses, but I'm trying to get out of here a different way, if there is a different way. You can see all the palm trees here where they're pretending it's tropical, where at best it's a temperate climate around here. I always find it weird to have palm trees in the state of Victoria, because they never seem to fit into the landscape. I really like native trees. No, I can't get out here, so I'm going to throw a Yui. And there's a park there, and there's a swimming place as well, where they've have a swimming pool separated from the bay, but using the same water. So there we go. There's the hill, and up above the hill there's all the antique houses. It's so quiet and peaceful here, and the bay is very flat, glass-like. So we're going to head back and correct my error, my shambolic error, and get back up on the road. There's something primal, I think, in walking along the waterfront early in the morning. I've done it myself a number of times, but I'm not doing this today because I've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Lovely around here, and I'll just center the camera again. if I can. There we go. Let's go up here, because why the fuck not? I might actually drive up the hill and show you some of the antique houses. There we go. Little bit of a hill. And the Yeti, our car, doesn't do hills that often. It's perfectly capable of them, but it doesn't do hills that often. So you can see some of the houses up here, which is now going for beaucoup prices. We head up here, and I will meander my way to Belmont Market. What time is it? 8 It should be open with a little bit of luck. But if it's not, we'll make it part of the story. Yeah, I think I'll fang a right here. Go past these pretty old houses, none of which suffers well with warm weather, because they were designed by 19th century English people who wanted 19th century English houses in a climate that doesn't particularly lend itself to that kind of weather. See, normally this is crazy busy. Actually, I might go that way, because why not? Yeah, normally these roads are really busy, but it's Sunday morning, so we've still got almost to ourselves these roads. Bluestone buildings there. Up to the botanical gardens. So I don't know why people ever thought or said that this area was shitty, because it's not. I'm going to pull over and get my GPS going so I know where I'm going. I think I do, but I don't know this area quite well enough. So give me a moment while I GPS this sucker. Okay, we got that sorted out, so let's go straight ahead and see what we can see.
In 600 meters, turn right.
Yeah, we're going to get that noise with the GPS, but it can't be helped. So yeah, I've got a fairly busy week. I've got to do a live stream tomorrow morning. Around this time I'll be live streaming on the other channel, which is cool. I don't mind that at all. It's fun. It keeps me off the streets in the mornings, apart from this morning. But yeah, so live stream on the other channel, and this today, and I've got to get this edited today as well. So busy day. So we're in the southern outskirts of the main part of Geelong, though it does spread pretty widely. There are a whole bunch of places like Warren Ponds and Belmont itself, which are part of the majority of Geelong that most tourists never see. Places like down here. So we're going to figure this out and work out how we get to where we're going. And of course we've hit traffic lights, which I always love. There we are. And maybe I'm just getting annoyed because I am a little bit hungry. But nonetheless, not a bad week. Oh, there's a coffee shop there and it's open. It says to turn right, so I'll turn right. And I've turned left, haven't I? Fucking hell. Why a shambolic mistake? So what I've got to do is get out here and reverse and then turn right, because I've screwed up again. Here we are. There's nothing behind me, so it wasn't a peril to other people for me to turn right. As I said, shambolic. Maybe I'll put shambolic in the title of this video just for the fun of it. Maternity and child health care. There used to be a lot of those. There used to be like child health care places all over Australia that were specifically for mothers to take their kids and have them weighed and have them vaccinated and get assistance with healthcare. But there are fewer of them these days because the local GPs have taken over that function. But it was something from my childhood where pretty much everywhere I lived there was a child healthcare centre where they'd have trained nurses who would look after.
In 400 metres, turn left.
Who would look after the kids and assist mothers in learning how to handle babies and learning how to handle things like breastfeeding and feeding if they couldn't do breastfeeding, all that kind of stuff. It was really a nice function that no longer happens, and I've got to turn left here.
Turn left.
Yeah, so because there are a few of them around still, they're kind of, as much as they're useful, they're historic monuments as well. They're a reflection of how we assisted people in the past. And by the way, you can see the great big light towers for the local sports ball stadium. Sports ball's big in Geelong. They've got an AFL team and a whole bunch of other things. So a lot of money going into the infrastructure here, and it sits above the suburb like a giant crab. But that's how it is. I know where we are now, so we're not terribly far from Belmont Market, which is on the other side of the river. So we'll get there and get things done. Hey, petrol's pretty cheap here. I might top up on the way home, but you won't see that. So yeah, we're in that bit where there's lots of small businesses like car yards and things like that, and heading down toward the river. Forget which river it is, but I will tell you as we cross it, just to keep you up to date on things. I should remember which river this is. This is the Barwon River, and I remembered it just moments before I saw the sign.
In 400 metres, turn left.
So there we are, we've crossed the Belmont River, which is a nice river. It's very placid, lots of sporty kind of places along the side of it. So I'm going to turn left here, along with these other cars.
Turn left. Then turn left.
Yeah, so we're at the market just about, so here we are. Just got to wait for these people to go, because the market is quite popular. Mostly because there's not much else to do on a Sunday morning in this part of Geelong. And getting the parking is going to be the hard part. I thought I was going to get here early.
Turn left. Then turn left.
I thought I was going to get here early enough to get a decent park, but we'll have to wait and see. Because it does look a little bit stacked today, which is okay. And I will demount the camera and we'll wander through the market, see what we can find, because there's some nice stuff that I want to look at. And by nice stuff I mean probably illegal DVDs, but that's the nature of this kind of market. So let's just see if I can get a parking spot.
In 200 metres.
Sharp. Oh good, someone's pulling out, so I'm going to pull in. Just like a cheap brothel. Here we are. There. Let's get out of here and see what we can see. And here I am. Yep. As I said, it's cloudy. The rain seems to have stopped, but there's no guarantees about that. And I can hear cars behind me. He's behind me. So we're going to head to the market, and I will pick up some things. I even have cash. One of the things about these markets is cash is king. So make sure you've got cash. And I'm going to put the lanyard around my wrist. Give me a sec. So that I don't drop the camera. This is one of the nice markets in that it doesn't charge you to go into the market. It's a freebie. Unlike the one at Laverton, which I like the market, but you always got to chuck in $1 or $2 to get into it. So we'll go forward again and look around. Oh good, no cars to worry about from here on. But I do need to get food. It's a little busier than it has been in the past when I've been here. Let me have a look. Morning.
Morning.
Cool. Nothing there for me. Some board games down here, but don't play them. Somebody playing some doof. Let's see what we've got here. Nothing there for me. Which I don't need. Smart people have got their marquees up today. Some very sun-faded DVDs there.
$10 for that whole pack.
Somebody's selling Foster's beer cans, antique ones. Some native plants. Maybe they've scared off the geezer who was selling DVDs and Blu-rays, because I'm sure they weren't legit. Very shifty guy he was, but yeah, he's not here. One of the reasons I wanted them is he had bootleg Disney stuff, and Disney don't make physical media here in Australia anymore because they're Disney. So I'm going to go inside, see if I can get some food. Hello, we've got a Bromwich caravan here. I bet it's a fortune teller or something like that. Looks very cool. Guess what I picked it? Fortune tellers. Let's go inside and see what we've got. Smells like incense around here. Like jasmine incense. Hello, we've got some things here. DVDs $1, Blu-rays $4. Let's see what the Blu-rays are. Pretty much standard op-shop Blu-rays. Get some olives by the scoop. Morning. And some fresh breads. Morning.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. Lots of toys, which is tempting. But I've got enough stuff on the shelves. Charms. There's more stalls inside here than there was last time I was here. Getting a strong smell of licorice as well. Cupcakes. Lollies are always tempting.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Just wait.
$3. Buy, because I know you'll use it. It's all wood and it's old. It's not moulded with like.
Alright, we'll go with that. I'm just having a look at what else you got here.
$3.
Yep.
Take it home.
I'm buying less DVDs these days, more Blu-rays. So I'm being a bit more selective. Here you go, if you want a Chuck Norris triple pack, you can have one. Which movies? The President's Man, A Force of One in the Octagon. Not a Chuck Norris guy. Let's see what the food offerings are. Back out here. I'm not sure I'm holding the camera in the right way, so I've got to be careful with that. Actually, I'm more inclined to go somewhere else because I know a good bakery down at Portarlington. Nice fresh fruit and veg. Much better than you get from Colesworth, the supermarkets. Because I've done it before. Last time I went to a market, which was, I'm trying to think, but I got some fruit and veg. It was when I went down to the Spud Shed on the way down to Moe, and their fruit and veg was fantastic and good prices. So let's get back in the car. Okay, back on the road. I could have gone over the gutter ahead and got out of here, but it didn't seem quite right to do it. So instead, we're going to go legit and get out of here and head to Portarlington. There you go, there's an exit here. Exit stage right, as Snagglepuss wants it. And it started playing copyright music on me. It's really hard to turn off my Spotify when I am driving and trying to do the GPS. So what I'm going to do is follow street signs. I'm not going to rely on technology. I'm going to rely on my eyeballs. Because why not? If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And if we go right here, you go to the Great Ocean Road, which I'm going to do one day on the channel, but I'm not doing it today. I'm going to wait till we're past tourist season, somewhat, and take you on a cruise all the way down the Great Ocean Road, because it's a marvellous drive. And I'm going to shut that window again. Yeah, it's a marvellous drive. I really do love it, and it feels a lot like the Rossano Brasi bit in the Italian Job, to fang it along the Great Ocean Road and just have a look at the fantastic views there. And there are lots of nice little cafes in the towns along there, like Lorne and Anglesey and all the other places. It's just a whole vibe. But we're not doing it today. We're going back over the Barwon River on a different bridge, because this is a posh place. This has got multiple bridges, and past Pegasus Antiques, and there will be a sign saying how to get to Portarlington. South Geelong would do, so I'll go to South Geelong, turn up at the lights here, and let's see whether I can be a Renaissance man and find my way to Portarlington without a GPS, which I reckon I can. What's the worst that could happen? And don't answer that in any kind of catastrophic way. Here we are. Yeah, but that's one of the things with my sense of direction. I won't know specific roads necessarily, but I do know direction, so I can just kind of dead reckon things based on directions. And it might not be exactly the fastest way to get to a place, but I'll get there. And I'll get there in reasonable time. And I've done it across the world. I did it in Dubai. I went through the souks of Dubai and found my way to where we needed to go, which was the creek and the Abba rides across the creek in Dubai back in 2004. Dead reckoning directions, and it worked really well. I was incredibly smugly proud of myself for that. That was before Dubai became just basically a place for wannabe Englishmen to go and live there because they don't pay any taxes. Now we're kind of going parallel to the way we need to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang a left here and find my way across to the highway to Portarlington. Because if we go straight ahead, I'm sure we head to Warren Ponds or something like that, which is not a bad place, but it ain't the place we need to go. As I said, what can go wrong? I'm a diabetic who hasn't had breakfast. And here's one of the rarities around Victoria at the moment, a level crossing for the train line, which I think is the line that goes to Warren Ponds. Yeah, it is. So my local trains go past here from Melbourne to Warren Ponds. More antique houses along here, the old stuff. Most of them are made of weatherboard. They're starting to go for crazy premium prices these days. You know, the kind of money you used to spend to buy a Learjet. Hey, there's a cafe on the corner there. Okay, don't be distracted. Keep going. Yeah, I was a little disappointed with Belmont Market. There wasn't much there. A lot of it just seemed to be the same kind of stuff you find going into a kind of mediocre op shop or a thrift store, for those of you who are from the benighted parts of the world. Nothing kind of cool and groovy, which is pretty much par for the course, but it's still, I find it a little bit disappointing. And I wasn't going to line up for a egg and bacon roll. Tempted though I was. I'm going to turn here because I know I'm heading in the right direction. To quote Pal and Pressburger, I know where I'm going. Aha. Sneaky. I'm actually in the wrong place because the road to Portarlington is one road further down. So I'm going to do a sneaky and catch up with it further down here. Again, it's that sense of direction thing. And it says Portarlington straight ahead here, which means that I don't want to go to Queenscliff because I've been there before. And I can kind of go across here and go here. It says Portarlington. Right turn at Rotary Street. Let's not do that. This is all getting a little too confusing. I'm going to go this way in my own sweet shambolic way. I think they just put up random street signs that say Portarlington just to mess with people. None of them actually go to Portarlington, but they just do that to mess people around. But I think I'm heading in the right direction now. Yep, Portarlington. C123 is the number for the road to Portarlington. Year 7 accelerated learning program at Geelong High School, which I think means they pump them full of nootropic chemicals so that the kids become super geniuses for like 3 days. Don't quote me on that, but it's a possibility. I don't know what goes on in schools. Haven't been at school since 1972. The only time I've been to schools apart from that is school fetes I've been to, and to vote. There are voting booths in schools. So that's pretty much my experience of schools since the 1970s. When I left school in the 1970s, they used to whack kids with canes on their hands if they did things wrong. I only copped that twice, I think it was. It's part of my childhood trauma, come to think of it. But let me know whether you got beaten with a cane when you were at school as a kid, because I told my nephew Billy that, and he was a little skeptical about whether I was bullshitting him or not, but it's true. And yeah, there was just such brutality in the educational process when I was a kid. No, yeah, come to think of it, that was pretty much triple trauma. Got beaten up at home, got beaten up at school by bullies, got beaten up by teachers if you did anything wrong. I'm surprised I turned out to be such a wonderfully sanguine person. A lot of therapy and a lot of time to take care of that, but that was the 1960s and 1970s at schools in Australia. Treating kids like they were pinatas that you had to pump education into. So yeah, we're now going south of Geelong and around the bay. And along here, just past here, there are a whole bunch of disused salt works, because they used to fill these dugout pans with salt. You might see them over on the left. And they then dug the salt out once they sealed them and the sun dried the salt. Come on, you can go a little fucking faster so I can get over, dude. But they no longer need that, so they still have a little bit of a presence, and they mostly use the salt for industrial purposes. Yeah, the salt works used to be there, and it's a kind of low-tech way of mining salt that has been used since Roman times, if not before. Ancient technologies in the area of Geelong. Watch out, birds. For some reason I've been seeing a lot of Mel Brooks stuff on YouTube, like it's been popping up in my recommended stuff. So I don't know whether YouTube thinks Mel Brooks is going to die soon. I mean, he is 99 years old, but have a bit of decorum about it. But I'm getting a lot of Mel Brooks turning up as suggestions, and that's fine. But I've got a lot of Mel Brooks' stuff on disc anyway. So there is this thing. Maybe they think because I'm a person of a certain vintage that I'll only want to look at old things, which is not the truth. The YouTubers I have that I've subscribed to have a lot of age range on them. They've got older people, got younger people. I've got people from all over the world. I've got gay, trans, straight, lesbians. Not too many right-wing nut jobs. In fact, I've got no right-wing nut jobs. But because I am of a certain vintage, occasionally the YouTube algorithm tries to mess with me and suggests right-wing, and in some cases far right-wing YouTube channels with Botoxed American dudes shouting into a microphone with a wood panel background, saying egregious lies, and basically following a well-worn path first trod in the 1930s in Germany. So now we're going through the industrial areas. We're going to basically we're heading south at the moment, but to get to Portarlington eventually we're going to be turning left and heading east. And we'll go over a few little hilly bits, and then I'm going to stop at a bakery and get myself some breakfast, because I've earned it. I've driven a while. I've walked through a market and not bought anything. I deserve a bit of breakfast. So we'll be doing that, and then we're going to go. Don't know whether I'll do the full work, but we'll head to Portarlington, which is 24 kilometres away, by the way. Hang out there for a little bit. Portarlington, I actually might start at the other end of the walk and walk to Portarlington, then I'm going to have to walk back again without the camera going, because the other place is less touristy. But the way I'm going to do it is I'll drive to Portarlington for the bakery, get some breakfast, and from there I will double back to the starting point of this walk. I want to do the walk, show you the nice little boat harbour there, then I'll have to walk back again to get to the car and drive home. But let's see, temperature 23 degrees centigrade, It's cloudy, but I can't see any sign of rain, which is good, because I really don't want to get rained on while I'm doing this walk, because I've got delicate equipment with me. But I will take my backpack so that I can seal it and keep the electronics safe if I need to. So let's do a time lapse. For those of you who are keeping score, we're now officially on the Bellarine Peninsula, which is a big fat lumpy bed at the bottom of Port Phillip Bay, which juts out into the bay, and it's quite nice. In fact, I've flown over the Bellarine Peninsula once, because when I was working for Defence Procurement back in the previous century, I got a ride in a Black Hawk helicopter. And it took us from Laverton, you remember Laverton's been in some of my videos, all the way down here to the Bellarine Peninsula. And we hovered over the Bellarine Peninsula 2 kilometres up. And then the pilot cut the power to the rotors, because they had to do that as part of their training and as part of their fitness for being pilots. And so the rotors counter-rotated and slowed us down a bit, but we dropped a kilometre downward without power before they cut the power back in and laughed at us because we were in free fall for a kilometre. Yeah, helicopter pilots are bastards. But we did that. Some people were sick. I wasn't. I tend to have a fairly sturdy stomach. But it was a great ride, and doing a power turn in a Black Hawk helicopter is something I recommend everybody should do. Okay, I'm starting to get really hungry now. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to a bakery. I'll probably get some meat pies, maybe 1, maybe 2, depending on how hungry I feel at the time. And there's a holy grail of pie shops. You don't get many of them these days because people are silly. But if you go into a pie shop and they have a steak and kidney pie, that's the one to get. Steak and kidney is great, but very few pie shops do them these days. 10 years ago they used to do them a lot more, but these days there are very few pie shops that do steak and kidney, which is a shame. I love a steak and kidney. My next go-to default pie is a steak and pepper, where you have a nice peppery taste in the pie. Those ones hit. And the third and fourth ones are probably steak and bacon and steak and mushroom. They're all good value, but I keep hanging out, and I haven't seen one for about 5 years for a steak and kidney pie at a pie shop, which is a total shame. It's like black pudding. I love black pudding as well. If you don't know what black pudding is, it's kind of a blood sausage with, again, a peppery taste, a little bit of a herbal taste. And I know I can buy black pudding in some supermarkets, but it's kind of rare these days. Try finding steak and kidney to make up a steak and kidney pie with in the supermarket. You won't find it. You have to go to a specialist butcher. It's got iron in it. If you're a vegan, sorry, but I'll travel a different path. So we're well and truly onto the Bellarine Peninsula, which has got some nice wineries, I've been told. I don't drink a lot of wine, which is why I'm kind of coherent at my age. I do know there's a whole bunch of quite good wineries, according to my wine drinking friends, who at times are less coherent than I am. It's like the Yarra Valley. If you go up the other side of Melbourne to the east and out into the countryside, there's the Yarra Valley, which has all the posh wineries there. They have the Domaine Chandon wineries and things like that. And there's a big tourist trade in, first off, bed and breakfasts for people to stay there, and also bus tours of all the wineries, because you don't want to drive and people go for wine tastings and end up totally shit-faced. and then go on balloon rides the next morning. But the Yarra Valley wineries, I've been on a wine tour back in the early 90s. I did a wine tour on a bus of the Yarra Valley wineries, and yeah, I mean, on a bus with, basically a bus full of drunk perimenopausal women. It was an experience. Yeah, good luck to them. But they do get flirty after they've had a few. And yeah, I did get, in my youth, I did get flirted with, just a little bit. Less so now for some reason. I can't figure out why. But yeah, we're heading to Portarlington now. And it's only 8 kilometres away. Here's something else you should know about the pie shops too, the bakeries. Bakeries, you'll get fantastic pastries, you get vanilla slices and all sorts of great things. You get great meat pies and sausage rolls and all that kind of stuff. You don't get a good coffee. And coffees there are kind of lower mid-range coffees. They just don't have their heart in it. And so I'm not going to get a coffee there. I'm going to wait till I get home and nick down a couple more today. But yeah, it's a good cycling track around the coastline of the Bellarine Peninsula, and you end up at Queenscliff, and then you take the ferry over to Sorrento on the posh side of the bay, and from there you can get pretty much where you need to get in Melbourne. If I get some money from this channel, which is not likely to happen in the immediate future, it'd be nice to drive the car onto the ferry across the bay, which goes from Queenscliff to Sorrento, and do a bit of a video about that, but it's prohibitively expensive at the moment because capitalism. Nonetheless, it's a nice ride, particularly in the summertime, because very often you get chased by dolphins going across the bay. Welcome to Bellarine on the Bellarine Peninsula. Yeah, I've actually swum in the bay with dolphins. I went out on a boat tour, again in the 90s, where they put you in a wetsuit and dangle you off the back of a boat on ropes, and the dolphins come around and swim with you. And I don't know whether you know this, but Port Phillip Bay is not warm. It's cold bay. It's a cold bay. So even with a wetsuit on, I got really fucking cold. And so I looked at the dolphins, had a good time, got back on the boat, and they gave us date scones and hot cups of hot chocolate, which was the best bit of it, really. The dolphins I could have looked at from the boat. I didn't need to swim with them. But yeah, so wetsuits in the water, come back, have a good snack. That's kind of like ghost tours. I did a ghost tour in Edinburgh once, and I don't believe in ghosts. I've never seen one, never probably will. But I did a ghost tour in Edinburgh because Sal wanted to. We went through the catacombs under the city and all that kind of stuff. And it's March, so it's still pretty bloody cold in Edinburgh. And the best bit of it was at the end of the trip, they took us into a pub and gave us a dram of whiskey. You can see ahead. Hang on, let me straighten things out here for you. Dun, dun. There you go. You see ahead, we're heading into Portarlington, and we're back on the bay again. That miniature railway is where we're heading down toward. But we've got the bay off on our left. Yeah, we're going to go down to Point Richards and look along the coastline there. But first we're going to Portarlington to get me some breakfast. Hey, there's a market on at Portarlington because it's a Sunday. We should check that out if I can find a parking spot. Whereabouts is it in Portarlington? Drysdale Reserve, so it's in a park. There's a really eclectic little op shop on the left further up here, which won't be open because it's Sunday, but it has lots of weird and wonderful stuff in it, and it's basically an old house with lots of little rooms, and you go from room to room looking for stuff. and there's no rhyme or reason to it. And the people who run it, and right ahead I can actually see the city of Melbourne all the way up the bay. Got a good view of the city of Melbourne straight ahead. Won't pick it up very well in the camera, but it's one of those days when it's just clear enough to see all the buildings. And there is actually a ferry twice a day from Portarlington to Melbourne, which people commute on the ferry going straight up the bay to Melbourne. And it ends where the 75 tram. Remember when I did the longest tram route in Melbourne? The ferry terminal near there is where the ferries come to Portarlington here. Only once or twice a day. I forget exactly, maybe 2 trips each way. But that might be a nice one to do one day, if I get myself organised. But yeah, here we are in Portarlington. They have really good mussels here too. Down at the waterfront, there's often a floating mussel sales place, because they dredge for mussels in the bay. And they're down this end of town, and Portarlington mussels are fantastic. You just chuck them in a pot, you throw in a slurp of wine, you throw in some butter, throw in some garlic, and that's all you need to do. If I can cook them, anybody can. I'd actually cooked green lip mussels in New Zealand once because we needed to have a feed. But the bakery's up here. So what I'm going to do is try to find a parking spot near the bakery. Get breakfast, because that's the main agenda here. And work from there. Yep, there's the bakery. Come on, get out of my way. The hard part's finding the parking spot. Yep, no parking spots there. Might have to chuck a Yui and find it, because the market's up here, up on the left there. So let's see what I can find before I starve to death. Hey, there's one. Yeah, let's get that one. And that lady's got a car door open. Okay, I'm going to do the market, but I'm going to go and get breakfast at... I could get breakfast at the market, couldn't I? Let's see what happens.
Morning. Thank you.
Morning.
Yep. Good boy.
Thank you. And we're in gold coin donation at the entrance to the market, of course. But I've got to show you this. Check out the wooden sculpture of the dolphins. Do not climb, it says. Good, I won't. Nice, there are a whole bunch of them around here. Beautiful sculptures of dolphins. And even better, up here, I've just spotted a coffee shop. Got an octopus. That's pretty cool. Actually, we may have more than one. It's a seat. You can sit in the octopus. Hang on, we've got to do it. Got to get the shot. There we are. Here's me with an echo, sitting in an octopus. If we look over that way, you can see all the way over to the Yuyangs. Let me zoom that sucker. You can see over to the Yuyang Mountains on the other side of the bay. Cool. Uh-oh, there's a bookstall at the market. Oh look, got crabs as well. Well, I don't have crabs, but there are crabs, and I've got sand in my shoes now. But behind the dumpling thing are a whole bunch of crabs. Hey, this is cool. And yeah, they got the jennies going, but cool. I'm gonna look at the books. See lots of stalls. Sorry. No books for me. There's a lot of stalls here. So they all go back there as well. Spuds. What do you got that's good for making chips with?
Chips is White Star, isn't it?
Yeah, or the Pontiac.
Okay.
Pontiac are your red spuds.
Yeah. I might have a Pontiac.
No worries, $7.
Thank you. Great, thanks very much.
No worries at all.
Cool.
Whichever bag you like.
I bought some potatoes.
Good morning.
Good morning. I can never resist Lucky Dips.
Okay.
There you go, $3.
$3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can never resist these things, a Lucky Dip. So I've got a Lucky Dip. Should have brought a bag with me because I'm carrying things around. Yeah, carrying too much around. Not enough pockets. And these pants don't have a thigh pocket, so it's actually dragging my pants down to carry all sorts of stuff. But there's a lot here. I should bring Sal here. And we should check it all out. Look, there's even more up here. Oh. Coffee. You will get a good coffee from these coffee vans. Pet treats. There's always pet treats. There's a Lions Club barbecue up there. And there's more fruit there. There's some strawberries. Because strawberries are in season. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back, dump my potatoes and my Lucky Dip in the car, and head down to the bakery. Hello, I missed this one. DVDs $3 each, 2 for $5. Let's see what we find. Nothing for me there. Steamed dim sum dumplings, pork and chive dumplings, prawn dumplings. Nice. Got more fruit and veg there. It's a place up here sells cherries, but because the air is still, we're getting flies. There's always hot sauce as well. So what did I get in my Lucky Dip? A silicone pen cup from Kmart. I'm disappointed, but Lucky Dips are Lucky Dips. Let's get some food now. Mural along here too, showing the Portarlington. I'll take you down to the harbour, but I won't stop because I won't get a park down there. And then we'll head over to the other place. Here's where they sell the ferry tickets, 70 minutes direct to Docklands, at the Grand Hotel here in Portarlington. It's a little bandstand over there. Let's get up to the bakery.
I consult this with my eyes. She puts her hand under his eyes just to make sure he's not peeking.
Okay, we've reached the bakery, fortunately, and there's a queue. Breakfast has been achieved because I've got a turkey baguette. Check that out. Only $11, which is pretty good. I went healthy because it's got salad in it, but I'm going to eat half of that, and then we're going to go down the waterfront. That baguette was tremendously delicious. Just exactly what I needed to see me through the rest of the day. I've eaten half of it because it was a girthy looking thing. But we're going to now throw a Yui, go down to Portarlington just to show you the wharf, and then we'll head to the better place. I'm actually going to do a blocky here just to not piss anybody off. Yeah, a fantastic little baguette. That bakery always lives. I went in there and I remembered that last time I was here I bought a baguette that really hit. And so I repeated the experience. Yeah, I could have bought myself a pie, which is obviously my go-to because that's the kind of stuff I like. But I'm in the mood to be just the tiniest bit healthy today. To be honest with you, it's not my default position. Thought I'd give it a go. And I'm just trying to get back now. Should have chucked a Yui there. This is a really wide street with no cars on it, so I'm going to risk it for the biscuit and just throw a Yui here. Get the camera gimbal worked out and head back down here. There was just a little bit of cranberries in with that turkey baguette. Not a lot, because I don't want too much sweetness, but it was just a tiny little bit of sweet, slightly bitterness that you get from cranberries, and it just worked for me. I was unreasonably happy about it. So down here is the Portarlington Pier. It used to be a lot less posh than it is now. It's very upmarket now, and it's definitely got a little bit of a brush up. But there it is. It used to be a lot shabbier. It used to be basically seagulls and us kind of thing. I'm actually going to stop here and go to the toilet, so hold that thought. If you look over there, there's a family of black swans just in the waterfront there. It looks like I'm not going to be doing the walk I wanted to do because there's rain coming over the Geelong directly towards us, and the Weather Bureau says it's got thunderstorms as well. So let's get the rest of this thing done, and I'll probably get rained on the way home because it's actually feeling tropical here in the sense that it's both warm and humid, which is not the default around here. We're copying a little bit of the weather chaos that we're all starting to get used to. And there are the toilets, in case you're wondering. Rule 1 of YouTubing: when you can, go to the toilet. But yeah, there's going to be some heavy rain and thunderstorms coming across, and not what I want. And there is the mussel place that sells mussels. So what I'm going to do is go straight. No, I'm going to go straight here. No, I'm going to go up the hill. Stop second guessing myself. Going back up the hill, and I'm going to go down to the little boat harbour that I did want to show you. You can pull in. No, I'll actually go around a bit. But for me, this is nicer than Portarlington. For starters, it's not as crowded. It doesn't have the craziness of Portarlington. And you can get parking a lot easier. And I will show you the boat harbour here. The little dinky boat harbour, which is lovely. No, I can't park there. It's a disable button, but I'm going to park in one of the boat parking places here because fuck it. I'm going to take you out and show you this dinky little boat harbour at Port Richards. So there's going to be that wonderful transition where I disconnect the Osmo from the bracket and move it across and take it out of the car, turn off the headlights in one none too slick move. And it's starting to rain already, so oh, it's right. Walking to Portarlington from here is a mug's game because the rain's just starting to come across the bay. Lots of very aggressive seagulls. As I said, you can see Portarlington, you can see the Yuyangs across there. Hey you. I don't mind seagulls. Look at them all. Hey guys. So you've got a little boat harbour here where people can launch their little boats into the bay. But few people know about it and few people use it. And it's quiet. So Point Richards is the place to go if you want to just chill out sur la plage. There is a beach down there. Tides in too. Though this boat harbour is deep enough that you can put a reasonable boat into it. See, there's a little beach over there with a guy on it. See how smooth the bay is? Cop the serenity here. It's so quiet I can hear some guys splashing in the shallows over there, like 30 metres away. These are the places I like looking for. They're much nicer than all the touristed up places. They're kind of liminal spaces in a sense, where it's one of those, if you know, you know. If you know these places, you know not to tell too many people. Because you don't want them to get spoiled. But I'm going to tell you guys, don't have that many subscribers yet. But Point Richards is the place to go. And here I am. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave the vlog here because I'm going to eat the rest of my baguette. And I'm going to drive home and everything will be smooth. Thanks a lot for coming along for this shambolic thing. It is a very humid but warm day, and I like the warm. And all the usual things, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know which part of this you liked and which part you didn't. You can also support the channel by becoming a patron at patreon.com/terrytalksmovies. Next up, who knows, I might go into the city. That might be fun. I did plan to go into the city last week and record a vlog, but I forgot the SD card. And there are some seagulls. And until next time, travel well, look after yourselves, and I'll catch you soon.